Admiral June Kim stood tall on the bridge of the Earth's largest defense ship, the UES Defender. His dark eyes were fixed on the main screen. The message playing there had been repeating for the past hour. It was not a message anyone on Earth had wanted to receive. "People of Earth," the alien voice said. Its words had been translated by Earth's computers. "We are the Galactic War Council. Your planet now falls under our rule. You have one standard galactic cycle to surrender. If you refuse, we will destroy your world. There will be no second chance." June took a deep breath. In his 20 years of military service, he had faced many challenges. But first contact with aliens who wanted to destroy Earth? That was new. "How long is a galactic cycle, Dr. Lee?" he asked the woman standing to his right. Dr. Mina Lee looked up from her tablet. As Earth's top expert on the stars and possible alien life, she had been called to the bridge as soon as the message arrived. "About 3 Earth days, sir," she said. "They're giving us 3 days to surrender." June nodded. 3 days was not much time, but it was better than nothing. "And we're sure this isn't a joke?" he asked. Commander Hannah Park, his second-in-command, shook her head. Her short black hair moved slightly with the motion. "The message is coming from beyond our solar system, sir," she said. "Our tracking systems show a large group of ships heading our way. They will be here in 3 days." June walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens were coming to conquer Earth. They expected humans to beg for mercy or die fighting. They were in for a surprise. "Send a message to all Earth Defense Force bases," he said. "I want everyone on high alert. And get me a direct line to the World Assembly." "Yes, sir," Hannah said, moving quickly to carry out his orders. "What are you thinking, Admiral?" Mina asked, coming to stand beside him. June's face was serious. "I'm thinking that we've been preparing for this day for 30 years. Ever since we first picked up alien signals and realized we weren't alone. The World Assembly meeting was short but heated. Leaders from every nation on Earth gathered via video to discuss the alien threat. "We should surrender," said one leader. "We can't fight beings who can travel between stars." "Never," shouted another. "Humans do not bow to threats." President Yoon of the United Earth Government raised his hands for quiet. "Admiral Kim," he said, "you've been studying alien communications for years. What do you think we should do?" All eyes turned to June, who stood straight in his blue uniform. "Mr. President, members of the Assembly," he began, "we know more about these aliens than they think we do. For 30 years we've been listening to their signals. We've learned about their technology, their ships, even their biology. They call themselves the Council, and they've conquered hundreds of worlds." He paused to let that sink in. "But there's something important they don't know about us," he continued. "Humans evolved on what they would call a death world. Our gravity is stronger than most inhabited planets. Our weather is more extreme. We even had large predators that hunted us. These challenges made us strong, creative, and very good at surviving." The room was silent as everyone listened. "I believe we should not surrender," June said firmly. "But we should not immediately fight either. I suggest we respond with an offer to talk. This will buy us time to finish our preparations." President Yoon nodded slowly. All in favor of Admiral Kim's plan. One by one, the leaders voted. The decision was nearly unanimous. "It's decided then," said the president. "Admiral, please send our response." Back on the bridge of the UES Defender, June prepared to send Earth's message to the approaching alien fleet. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked Hannah. "Shouldn't we just agree to their terms and then surprise them when they arrive?" June shook his head. "No. If we've learned anything from their communications, it's that the Council respects strength. Saying we'll surrender and then fighting would be seen as dishonorable. We need to be clear from the start." He turned to the communications officer. "Send the message." The officer nodded and pressed a few buttons. June's voice was transmitted across space. "Galactic War Council, this is Admiral June Kim of the United Earth Defense Force. We have received your message. The people of Earth respectfully decline your offer of surrender. We propose diplomatic talks instead. We await your arrival and hope for peaceful discussions." There was silence on the bridge. After the message was sent, "Now we prepare," June said quietly. The next 3 days were the busiest in human history. All across the planet, people worked together like never before. Old enemies set aside their differences to face the common threat. In his office at the main Earth defense base, June met with his team. "Report," he said simply. Chief Engineer Tae Sung spoke first. "The shield system is ready, Admiral. Based on the alien signals we've studied, we believe their weapons use specific energy frequencies. Our shields are designed to block those frequencies." "Good," said June. "What about our weapons?" "We've adapted our missiles to target what we believe are weak points in their ship design," Tae replied. "And our pilots have been training in new flight patterns that should confuse their targeting systems." June turned to Dr. Lee. "Mina, what have you learned about their biology?" Mina pulled up images on the main screen. "From the transmissions we've intercepted, we know they evolved on a planet with low gravity and few natural threats. They're physically weaker than humans and have slower reaction times, but their technology is far advanced." "So in a fair fight we'd lose," June said. "Yes," Mina agreed. "But who says we have to fight fair?" June smiled slightly. "Exactly. We fight smart, not fair." He turned to Commander Park. "Hana, is the fleet ready?" "Yes, sir," she responded. "All ships are in position. The special units are hidden where the aliens won't detect them." "And the evacuation shelters?" "All major cities have underground shelters stocked with supplies. If the worst happens, our people can survive for months." June nodded, pleased with the reports. "Good. Now we wait." On the third day, Earth's long-range sensors detected the alien fleet entering the solar system. There were 50 massive ships, each larger than the biggest human vessel. "They're here," Hana said quietly. The bridge crew of the UES Defender watched as the alien ships approached Earth. They moved with precision, forming a perfect circle around the planet. The main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. A being appeared on screen. It had pale blue skin, large eyes, and no visible nose or ears. "I am Supreme Commander Vorx of the Galactic War Council," it said. "We received your response. Your refusal to surrender is noted. Prepare for—" The alien paused, looking confused. You have defenses? And ships?" June stepped forward where the alien could see him. "Yes, Commander Vorx. Earth is ready to defend itself, but we would prefer to talk peacefully." Vorx seemed shocked. "Most species beg for mercy when we arrive, or they hide in fear. You prepared to fight?" "Humans don't surrender easily," June said. "But we don't want war. We want to join the galaxy as equals, not as slaves." There was a long pause as Vorx considered this. Finally, the alien spoke. "This is unexpected. The Council will need to discuss this new development. You have one more day before we make our final decision." The screen went dark. June looked around at his crew. They all knew what the Council's decision would likely be. "Battle stations," he said calmly. "The real test begins tomorrow." Chief Engineer Tae Sung worked quickly in the main engineering lab of the Earth Defense Base. Around him, 20 of Earth's best scientists and engineers were busy at their stations. They had just 3 hours before the alien fleet would be in attack range. "How is the new weapon coming?" June asked as he entered the lab. Tae looked up from his work. Sweat covered his forehead. "Almost ready, Admiral. We studied the data from our first battle. The alien shields work by blocking energy at certain levels. But if we change the frequency of our weapons quickly and randomly, their shields won't be able to adapt fast enough," June finished. "Exactly," Tae said with a smile. "We're uploading the new firing patterns to all Earth ships now." June nodded. "Good work. What about the communication disruptor?" Tae pointed to a large device in the corner of the lab. "Ready for testing. If it works, it should cut off communications between the alien ships. They won't be able to coordinate their attack." "Humans have always been good at adapting," June said. "It's time to show the Council what that means." On the UES Defender's Bridge, Dr. Mina Lee was showing Commander Hana Parker latest findings. "Look at this," Mina said, pointing to her tablet. "I've been studying the alien signals more carefully. Their fleet uses a central command system. All orders come from the flagship and are distributed to the other ships. So if we cut off that communication," Hana began. "The fleet would be confused and disorganized," Mina finished. "They rely heavily on their supreme commander for decisions." Hana thought for a moment. "That's very different from our approach. Each Earthship captain can make their own decisions if needed." "Exactly," Mina said. "The council species evolved in a stable environment with a clear hierarchy. They follow orders well, but they're not good at improvising." "And humans?" Hana asked. "We evolved having to adapt constantly to changing threats and environments," Mina explained. "Improvisation is in our nature." Hana's communication device beeped. She checked it and her face became serious. "The alien fleet will be in range in 2 hours. Admiral Kim wants us on the bridge." The bridge of the UES Defender was busy with activity when Hana and Mina arrived. June stood at the center, looking at the main screen that showed the approaching alien fleet. "Status report," he said as he saw them. "All Earthships are ready, sir," Hana reported. "The new weapon systems have been uploaded. The communication disruptor is in place." "And the special surprise?" June asked. Hana smiled slightly. "Ready and waiting, sir." June turned to address the entire bridge crew. "What we do today will decide the future of our planet. The Council thinks we will beg for mercy or die fighting. We will do neither." He walked slowly around the bridge as he continued. "Throughout human history, we have faced challenges and overcome them. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and our own wars. We have always adapted and become stronger." He stopped and looked each crew member in the eye. "Today, we will show the galaxy what humans can do when threatened. Not just how we fight, but how we win." A communications officer spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship." "On screen," June ordered. Supreme Commander Vorx appeared on the main screen. His blue face looked tense. "Humans," he said. "This is your final chance to surrender. Our full fleet stands ready to attack. Your small victory means nothing. You cannot defeat 50 Council warships." June stepped forward. "Commander Vorx, we have already shown we can disable your ships without destroying them. We don't want to fight, but we will defend our home. I ask you again to consider peaceful talks." Vorx's large eyes narrowed. "The Council does not negotiate with primitive species. Prepare to be conquered or destroyed." The screen went dark. "Well, we tried," June said with a small sigh. "Battle stations, everyone. Initiate Phase 1. The 50 alien ships moved into attack formation. They formed a half-circle facing Earth, weapon systems powering up. On his flagship, Vorx gave the order to fire. But at that exact moment, several things happened. First, a high-pitched noise filled all communication channels between the alien ships. The carefully coordinated attack plans became impossible to share. Second, 300 small Earth fighters launched from hidden bases on Earth's moon, where the aliens had not thought to look. Third, Earth's 20 main defense ships moved into a formation that the aliens had never seen before. "What is happening?" Vorx demanded as his communications officer tried desperately to restore contact with the fleet. "Supreme Commander, we're being jammed," the officer reported. "I can't reach any of our ships." "How is this possible?" Vorx shouted. "Their technology should not be able to affect our systems." The science officer looked up from his station. "Sir, it appears they've been studying our communication frequencies for decades. They know exactly how to disrupt them." On the main viewer, Vorx watched in shock as the human fighters swarmed his fleet. They moved with incredible speed and precision, targeting shield generators and weapon systems, just as they had done in the first battle. But the Council ships were not defenseless. They fired at the human fighters, destroying several. However, for every fighter they hit, 5 more seemed to appear. "Sir," the science officer said with alarm, "the human ships are using some kind of new weapon. It's changing frequency constantly. Our shields can't adapt." Vorex watched as ship after ship in his fleet lost shields or weapons capabilities. This was not supposed to happen. No species had ever given the Council this much trouble. On the UES Defender, June watched the battle unfold. The communication disruptor is working perfectly, Hana reported. Their ships can't coordinate. And our new weapons? June asked. Breaking through their shields just as Tai predicted, Hana said with a smile. June nodded. Now for Phase 2. Signal the moonbase. Hana pressed several buttons on her console. Signal sent, sir. On the main screen, they watched as 50 more Earthships suddenly appeared from behind Earth's moon. These were not fighters but medium-sized cruisers, each carrying powerful weapons. The Council thought they had us outnumbered, June said. They didn't know about our reserve fleet. The new Earthships joined the battle, targeting the alien vessels that still had functioning weapons. The battle was not easy. Several Earthships were badly damaged, but the Council fleet was in chaos without central command. Sir, a communications officer called out. We're receiving a signal from one of the alien ships. They want to surrender. Accept their surrender, June ordered. Make sure they're treated well. One by one, more alien ships began to signal their surrender as they lost weapons and shields. Some tried to retreat, but the Earth ships were quick to disable their engines. On his flagship, Vorex watched in disbelief as his fleet was defeated. Half his ships had surrendered. The others were disabled or trying to retreat. This is not possible, he whispered. No species has ever defeated a Council fleet. Supreme Commander, the strategist said urgently, we must retreat and report this to the full Council. These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered before. Vorex wanted to argue, but the evidence was clear on his screens. His mighty fleet had been defeated by a supposedly primitive species. Prepare for emergency jump, he ordered. We must warn the Council about these humans. As his flagship turned to flee, Vorex took one last look at Earth on his screen. The small blue planet had seemed so insignificant when they arrived. Now it would be remembered as the first world to ever defeat a Council fleet. The humans had not begged for mercy, as expected. Instead, they had shown the Council something it had never seen before, a species that could actually fight back and win. The Grand Hall of the Galactic War Council was filled with angry voices. Representatives from the 12 most powerful species in the galaxy sat around a massive table. For the first time in thousands of years, they were arguing with each other. Supreme, Commander Vorex stood at the center of the room, his blue skin looking paler than usual. He had just finished telling the Council about the defeated Earth. This is unacceptable, shouted Counselor Drex, a large reptilian alien with red scales. No primitive species has ever defeated a Council fleet. You must have made serious mistakes, Vorex. I followed all standard procedures, Vorex defended himself. These humans, they are different. Different how? Asked Counselor Zith, an older alien with silvery skin who rarely spoke at meetings. Vorex hesitated before answering. They evolved on what our records classify as a death world. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous predators. They are physically stronger and faster than most Council species, and they are extremely adaptable. That doesn't matter, Drex argued. Our technology is far superior. We should gather a larger fleet and destroy their planet completely. Several Council members nodded in agreement, but Zith raised a hand to speak again. Perhaps, Zith said, softly, we should consider a different approach. These humans defeated 50 of our ships. They could have destroyed them all, but they accepted surrenders instead. That shows restraint. Restraint is weakness, Drex shouted. Is it? Zith asked. Or is it wisdom? For thousands of years we have conquered every species we've met. We've never questioned if this is the best approach. The room grew quiet. No one had ever suggested that the Council's way of doing things might be wrong. What are you saying, Zith? Asked the Council leader, an ancient being whose actual appearance was hidden beneath flowing robes. I am saying, Zith replied carefully, that perhaps these humans could be more valuable as allies than as subjects. They clearly have strengths and abilities that we lack. Drex slammed his fist on the table. Allies? With primitives? Never. I say we gather all our fleets and crush them completely. The council broke into argument again, with some members supporting Drex and others considering Zith's words. The council leader raised a hand for silence. We will vote. Those in favor of launching a full-scale attack on Earth? 7 members raised their hands. Those in favor of seeking a different approach? 5 members, including Zith, raised their hands. It is decided, the council leader announced. We will assemble the Grand Fleet. Earth will be conquered or destroyed. As the meeting ended, Zith approached Vorax quietly. Supreme Commander, I would like to speak with you privately about these humans. On Earth, Jinwu stood nervously outside the meeting room where Earth's leaders were gathering. As the head of the United Earth Diplomatic Corps, he had been called to this emergency meeting, but he wasn't sure why. The door opened and President Yoon's aide gestured for him to enter. Inside, Jin saw the President, Admiral Kim, and representatives from all major Earth nations. Mr. Jin, the President said, thank you for coming. Please sit down. Jin took an empty seat next to Admiral Kim, who nodded in greeting. We have a critical situation, President Yoon began. Our long-range sensors have detected massive fleet movements in Council space. It appears they are gathering their forces for a full-scale attack on Earth. Murmurs filled the room. Everyone knew what that meant. The Earth had defeated 50 Council ships, but reports suggested the full Council fleet numbered in the thousands. How long do we have? Someone asked. 2 weeks, maybe 3, Admiral Kim answered. We're preparing all defenses, but truthfully we cannot win a direct fight against their entire fleet. The room grew quiet with the weight of his words. That's why we've asked Mr. Jin to join us, President Yoon said. Admiral Kim believes we need a different approach and it involves your expertise. Jin looked surprised. My expertise? I'm a diplomat, not a military strategist. Admiral Kim turned to him. Exactly. You're a diplomat. And right now, we need diplomacy more than strategy. What do you mean? Jin asked. For the past 30 years, June explained, we've been listening to the Council's transmissions. We've learned their languages, studied their cultures, understood their politics. We know that the Council rules over hundreds of worlds, most of them conquered against their will. Jin nodded slowly, beginning to understand. You want me to reach out to these conquered worlds? Yes, June confirmed, but not just reach out. We want you to offer them something the Council never has, respect and alliance instead of conquest. President Yoon spoke up. Mr. Jin, you've studied the Council's cultural transmissions more than anyone else on Earth. You understand their subject species. We need you to craft a message that will reach them, that will offer them an alternative to Council rule. Jin sat back in his chair, his mind racing. You're talking about starting a galactic rebellion. We're talking about survival, June said simply. And yes, about offering freedom to others at the same time. Jin thought for a moment. It could work. Many of the conquered species resent Council rule, but they've never had an alternative. If we can show them there's another way, then we might gain allies. President Yoon finished. And the Council might find itself fighting on multiple fronts. Jin nodded. I'll need access to our most powerful transmitters, and I'll need help from our best communication experts. You'll have everything you need, the President promised. 3 days later, Jin stood in Earth's largest communication center. Around him, dozens of specialists worked at their stations, preparing for the most important broadcast in human history. You ready? Admiral Kim asked, standing beside him. Jin took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. This message will be sent to every corner of the galaxy. If the Council intercepts it, they'll attack sooner, June finished. We know the risk, but we also know we can't win this fight alone. Jin nodded and turned to the main console. Let's begin. The technicians gave him the signal that they were ready to broadcast. Jin stepped up to the microphone and began to speak. To all free beings of the galaxy, this is Jin Wu of Earth. For thousands of years, the Galactic War Council has ruled through fear and conquest. They have taken your worlds, your resources, your freedom. They have told you this is the natural order, that strong species rule and weak species serve. Jin paused briefly before continuing. But there is another way. On Earth, we believe that all intelligent beings deserve respect and freedom. We believe in cooperation rather than conquest, in sharing knowledge rather than hoarding it. Jin's voice grew stronger as he continued. The Council recently attempted to conquer Earth. We refused to surrender. We fought back and defeated their fleet. Not because we are stronger, but because we stand together. Because on Earth, every voice matters, every person has value. He leaned closer to the microphone. We now extend our hand in friendship to all species who wish for freedom. We do not seek to rule you as the Council does. We seek to stand with you as equals. Together, we can create a galaxy where no species dominates another, where all can thrive in peace. Jin looked at Admiral Kim, who nodded encouragingly. The Council is preparing a massive attack on Earth. We ask for your help, not because we are weak, but because we believe this fight belongs to all who desire freedom. Join us, and together we can end the Council's reign of terror. Jin stepped back from the microphone. Message complete. Begin transmission. The technicians worked quickly, sending Jin's words across thousands of light years to every corner of Council space. Now we wait, Jin said quietly to Admiral Kim. And prepare, June added. Because one way or another, the galaxy is about to change forever. Supreme Commander Vorx paced the bridge of his massive flagship. His long, thin fingers were clasped behind his back. For the first time in his 300 years of leading conquest missions, he felt unsure. These humans are not like the others, he said to his chief strategist, an older alien with darker blue skin. No, Supreme Commander, the strategist agreed. They should be primitive. Their world was only marked for conquest because they recently developed space travel. Our records show they should not have advanced defense systems. Vorx stopped pacing and looked at the image of Earth on his screen. It was mostly blue, with green and brown land masses. Not so different from many worlds they had conquered before. How did they know we were coming? He asked. How did they have time to prepare? Another alien, the ship's science officer, spoke up. Supreme Commander, we have analyzed their communication systems. It seems they detected our signals decades ago. They have been listening to our transmissions and learning about us. Vorx's large eyes widened. Impossible. No primitive species could decode our signals. These humans, the science officer said carefully, may not be as primitive as we thought. Vorx slammed his fist down on a nearby control panel. It doesn't matter. Our ships are still larger and more powerful. Our weapons can still destroy their cities. They will surrender or be destroyed. Prepare the first attack wave. On Earth, Admiral June Kim watched the alien fleet carefully. The Earth Defense Force ships were positioned in a defensive formation around the planet. They were smaller than the alien vessels, but more agile. They're moving, Commander Hannah Park said, pointing to the main screen. 5 of their ships are breaking formation. June nodded. Just as we expected. They're sending a small force first to test our defenses. Dr. Mina Lee entered the bridge carrying her tablet. Admiral, I've finished analyzing their ship designs. Based on our latest scans, their shield generators are located here and here. She pointed to specific areas on the alien ship diagram. They're well protected, but if we can hit them with enough focused energy, their shields might fail, June finished. He turned to Chief Engineer Tae Sung. Can our weapons target those specific areas? Tae nodded. Yes, sir. I've already updated the targeting systems, but we'll need to get close. That's what our small fighter ships are for, June said. He pressed a button on his command chair. All pilots, prepare for launch. Remember your training. These aliens evolved in low-gravity environments. Their reaction times are slower than yours. Use that advantage. He looked at Hannah. Commander Park, you have the bridge. I'll be leading the fighter squadron. Hannah looked surprised. Sir, with all due respect, you're the admiral. You shouldn't be in the direct line of fire. June smiled slightly. In times like these, a leader must lead from the front. 30 minutes later, June sat in the cockpit of his fighter ship. Around him, 50 of Earth's best pilots prepared for battle. Their ships were small but fast, designed specifically for this moment. All fighters, check in, June said into his helmet microphone. One by one, the pilots reported they were ready. Remember, June said, we are not trying to destroy their ships if we can avoid it. Target their shield generators and weapons systems only. Show them that humans can fight without being cruel. The launch bay doors opened, and the fighter squadron shot out into space. Above them, the 5 alien ships were moving toward Earth. Formation Delta, June commanded. The fighters spread out in a specific pattern they had practiced for weeks. The 4 alien ships fired first. Huge energy beams shot toward Earth. But they never reached their target. Earth's planetary shield, built using technology learned from studying alien signals, absorbed the blasts. Now, June shouted. The fighter squadron zoomed toward the alien ships, moving much faster than the aliens expected. The Council's weapons were powerful but slow to aim. They were designed to destroy cities and large ships, not small, fast-moving targets. June's fighter darted around enemy fire, closing in on the lead alien ship. He targeted the shield generator and fired. 3 more fighters did the same. The combined attack overloaded the generator, and part of the alien ship's shields failed. Section 2. Target their weapon systems, June ordered. Another group of fighters swooped in, firing precisely at the now exposed weapons arrays. The alien ship's main cannon went dark. All around, the scene repeated. Human fighters too quick to hit, alien weapons too slow to respond. Within 20 minutes, all 5 alien ships had lost either their shields or their weapons. Return to base, June commanded his squadron. Mission complete. As they flew back to Earth, June opened a channel to the disabled alien ships. Galactic War Council vessels. This is Admiral June Kim. We have disabled your weapons and shields. We could destroy your ships, but we choose not to. Please return to your fleet and tell Commander Vorx that humans prefer peace. But we are ready for war, if necessary. On his flagship, Vorx received the news of his attack force's failure with shock and anger. How? He demanded. How could primitive ships defeat our advanced vessels? The science officer looked nervous as he replied. Supreme Commander, it appears the humans have studied our technology well. They knew exactly where to target our ships. And their pilots. Their reflexes are much faster than ours. Impossible, Vorx shouted. There's more, the science officer continued. Our scan of their planet shows something interesting. Their world has higher gravity than ours and more extreme weather patterns. The humans have evolved to survive in conditions that would kill most Council species. They're physically stronger and faster than us. The strategist spoke up. Supreme Commander, I believe we have made a serious mistake. These humans did not develop on a normal world. They developed on what our records would classify as a death world. Vorx sat heavily in his command chair. A death world? How did we miss this in our initial surveys? We assumed no intelligent life could evolve in such harsh conditions, the strategist explained. It seems we were wrong. Vorx stared at the image of Earth once more. His mission had always been simple before. Arrive, demand surrender, receive, it or destroy the planet. No species had ever put up effective resistance until now. Send in the main fleet, he ordered. All ships, full attack formation. The strategist looked concerned. Supreme Commander, perhaps we should reconsider. If these humans evolved on a death world, they may be more dangerous than we thought. We are the Galactic War Council, Vorx said firmly. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. We will not be defeated by a single primitive planet, no matter what kind of world they evolved on. But as he gave the order, a small doubt crept into Vorx's mind. What if they had finally met a species they couldn't easily conquer? What if these humans were different from all the others? Back on the UES Defender, June debriefed his team. The first attack was exactly as we expected, he said. They underestimated us. They won't make that mistake again, Hannah pointed out. Look, she gestured to the main screen where the entire alien fleet was now moving toward Earth. All 50 ships, Mina said quietly. They're really coming for us now. June nodded. Yes, But now they're angry and confused. They're not thinking clearly, and that gives us an advantage. What's the plan, Admiral? Tay asked. June smiled. Now we show them what humans do best. Adapt. 2 weeks after Jin Wu's message was sent across the galaxy, Earth's long-range sensors detected the Council's Grand Fleet entering the outer edges of the solar system. There were over 500 massive ships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. On the bridge of the U.S. Defender, Admiral Jun Kim looked at the fleet displayed on the main screen. His face was serious but calm. "Well," he said to Commander Hana Park, "they certainly didn't hold back." "No, sir," Hana agreed. "Sensors show they have enough firepower to destroy Earth several times over." June nodded. "Has there been any response to Jin's message?" "Nothing definite yet," Hana replied. "But our communication stations have picked up unusual activity across Council space. There are reports of unrest on at least 6 conquered worlds." "It may not be enough," June said quietly. "Are our defenses ready?" "Yes, sir. All ships are in position. The planetary shield is at full power, and Chief Engineer Tay has a few new surprises ready." "Good," June said, "because we're going to need every advantage we can get." The bridge door opened and Jin Wu entered. He looked tired but excited. "Admiral," he said, "we just received a coded transmission from inside Council space. It's from Counselor Zith." June's eyebrows raised in surprise. "A council member contacted us directly? What did the message say?" "Zith says that several council species are questioning the decision to attack Earth," Jin explained. "And more importantly, 12 conquered worlds have declared open rebellion against council rule." A small smile formed on June's face. "It's working." "There's more," Jin continued. "Zith has secretly ordered the ships under his command to delay their attack. That's about 1/5 of the fleet." "Every little bit helps," June said, "but we're still facing overwhelming odds." Jin nodded. "Zith also sent tactical information about the Council flagship. It seems Supreme Commander Vorx is personally leading the attack." "That could be useful," June said thoughtfully. "Thank you, Jin. Please continue monitoring for any new communications." As Jin left, June turned back to the main screen. The Council fleet was moving slowly but steadily toward Earth. "Send a message to all Earth ships," he ordered. "It's time for our final stand." Supreme Commander Vorx stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching as Earth grew larger on the main screen. His fleet surrounded him, the largest ever assembled by the Council. "Supreme Commander," his communications officer called, "we're receiving reports of rebellions in the outer systems. 12 subject worlds have risen against Council rule." Vorx frowned. "Crush them. Send the reserve fleet." "Sir, there's more. The rebels are broadcasting a message from Earth. They're claiming the humans have offered them alliance and freedom." Vorx's large eyes narrowed. These humans were more troublesome than he had imagined. Not only had they defeated his first fleet, but now they were turning his subject species against him. "It doesn't matter," he said firmly. "Once we destroy Earth, the rebellions will collapse. All ships prepare to attack." But as he gave the order, Vorx noticed something strange. 1/5 of his fleet seemed to be moving slower than the rest, falling behind the main attack formation. "What's happening with Zith's ships?" he demanded. The strategist looked uncomfortable. "They claim to have engine troubles, Supreme Commander. They're requesting time for repairs." Vorx felt cold anger rising inside him. "Zith, he's delaying on purpose. He's been swayed by the humans' talk of peace." "Should we wait for them?" the strategist asked. "No," Vorx said firmly. "We attack now. Earth will fall today, with or without Zith's help." On Earth, people watched, the sky with a mix of fear and determination. The alien fleet was now visible to the naked eye, hundreds of dark shapes blocking the stars. In cities around the world, people took shelter underground. But they did not panic. For weeks, they had prepared for this moment. If this was to be Earth's last day, humanity would face it with courage. In the Earth Defense Headquarters, President Yoon addressed the military leaders one last time. Whatever happens today, he said, know that Earth stands united as never before. Old enemies have become friends. Nations that once fought each other now fight together. If we fall as one people. Admiral June Kim nodded in agreement. And if we win as one people. The president smiled slightly. Indeed. Now, Admiral, the defense of Earth is in your hands. The battle began without warning. The Council ships opened fire from a distance, sending massive energy beams toward Earth. The planet's shield flared bright blue as it absorbed the attacks. Shield holding at 92%, reported a technician on the UES Defender. Launch fighters, June ordered. Execute pattern Gamma. From bases around Earth and the Moon, hundreds of human fighters launched into space. They were joined by Earth's main fleet, 50 large ships and 200 medium cruisers. It still wasn't enough to match the Council's numbers, but humans had never relied solely on numbers to win. The fighters moved in complex patterns that confused the Council's targeting systems. The larger Earth ships fired their new frequency-shifting weapons at the Council fleet. Some alien shields failed, but most held. This isn't working fast enough, Hana said as she watched the battle unfold. Their ships are too numerous. June nodded grimly. Time for our special surprise, signaled Tay to activate the EM pulse generators. Hana quickly sent the order. Moments later, 20 small devices hidden in asteroid fields around the battle zone activated. They sent out powerful electromagnetic pulses, specifically tuned to the frequency of Council technology. 1/3 of the Council ships suddenly lost power. Their weapons went dark, their engines failed. It worked, Hana exclaimed. For now, June cautioned. But Vorex's flagship is unaffected. They must have better shielding. On the main screen, they could see the massive Council flagship moving toward Earth, surrounded by ships that still had power. All ships focus fire on the flagship, June ordered. If we can take out Vorex, the others might stand down. Earth's fleet converged on the flagship, firing everything they had. The flagship's shields flared but held strong. Their shields are too powerful, Hana reported. We can't break through, June thought quickly. If we can't break their shields, from outside. He tapped his communication panel. This is Admiral Kim. I need 5 volunteer ships for a special mission. Dozens of captains immediately volunteered. June selected 5 and gave them specific instructions. The 5 ships broke away from the main fleet and headed straight for the Council flagship. They took heavy fire and 2 were destroyed before they reached their target. But the remaining 3 positioned themselves at specific points around the flagship. Now, June ordered. The 3 Earth ships activated special devices that Chief Engineer Tay had created. These devices didn't attack the flagship's shields from outside. Instead, they created a resonance pattern that disrupted the shields from within. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, suddenly, the flagship's shields flickered and failed. All ships, target their engines and weapons only, June ordered. Disable, don't destroy. Earth's fleet fired precisely, disabling the flagship's main systems. Without their leader, the remaining Council ships fell into disarray. And then something unexpected happened. New ships appeared at the edge of the battle, ships from the rebelling worlds that had answered Jin's call. They joined the fight against the Council fleet. The battle turned quickly. More Council ships surrendered or retreated. Some joined the rebels, turning against their former masters. 3 hours later, Supreme Commander Vorex stood in the main meeting room of the UES Defender. Across from him sat Admiral June Kim, President Yoon, Jin Woo, and Counselor Zith, who had revealed his support for the humans once the battle turned. The Galactic War Council has stood for thousands of years, Vorex said bitterly. You have destroyed everything in a matter of weeks. No, Jin said gently. We didn't destroy. We offered an alternative. Freedom instead of conquest. Cooperation instead of submission. The old council is finished, Zith added, but something better can take its place. June looked at Vorex calmly. When you came to Earth, you thought humans would beg for mercy. Instead, we showed you mercy when we could have destroyed your ships. President Yoon spoke up. We propose a new galactic cooperative, where all species have equal voice and equal rights, including your species, Commander Vorex. Vorex looked, surprised. You would include us? After all we did? That's what makes us human, June replied simply. We believe in second chances. As Vorex considered these words, messages came in from across the galaxy. More and more worlds were joining the rebellion, not to fight but to be part of something new. The galaxy was changing, and it had all started because the Galactic War Council had made one critical mistake. They had thought humans would beg for mercy. Instead, humans had shown them a better way.